back to Black Me Up Podcast, a weekly podcast discussing life, culture, and adulthood from the perspective of two Black women living in Seattle.
I'm Day.
And I'm Lily.
And this week we're discussing prison abolition and the idea behind it, what it means to abolish prisons, and how as a society we'd replace prisons with better forms of reform. We also have a Seattle activist, sociology major, and our friend Nyana here. Introduce yourself, girl. Air horn. Hey.
Audience.
Wow, I feel so special. Hi.
Introduce yourself, girl.
I'm Nyana, and basically everything you just said. Yeah, that's basically it about me. Y'all got me.
You're incredible. You have so much that you have going on. I see what you do on Twitter. And honestly, can you just tell us the protesting that you've been involved in recently, especially with the recent movements?
Oh gosh, I've been there basically every day since May 30th.
Oh, shit.
I was actually there on May 29th, which was it's called Day Zero, where all that crazy stuff was happening.
Yes.
Yeah, I've been there the whole time.
And where is there?
Oh, the Seattle protests for Black Lives. Yeah.
That's incredible. You do so much. And then you also told me that you've been planning a meeting with the senator.
Oh, that was yesterday. I couldn't actually attend it.
Oh, snap. Could you tell us what it would be about?
Oh, it was about a Black Students Matter bill that I've started.
Girl, tell us about that.
Yeah. Oh, that. Yeah, I started it like a month into these protests. I was like talking to my mentor, and I was like, I want to do something about this. And he was like, write up some demands. And I was like, okay, I don't know what that's gonna I don't know what's gonna come of that. And all of a sudden, I'm a politician.
Mm-hmm. An accidental,
yeah. Well, not even an accidental activist. I was always an activist.
Purposefully on purpose.
Accidental politician.
There you go.
Out of nowhere, and this is something that's gonna last until February. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, what did I do?
So what does this bill entail?
Oh my gosh. I'm so excited about this.
Yes.
It's defunding SPD, which is something that's actually going to happen, which is really exciting. Mm-hmm. Everett PD and Linwood PD so far is what's on the list by 50%. Reallocating those funds to schools in urban neighborhoods and community centers and nonprofit organizations, including the one that I want to start really bad. Mm-hmm. And then we are getting police out of any schools, like all school campuses.
Boom. I like that.
In Snohomish, King, and Pierce counties so far.
That's big. That's 3 counties.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Those are like the 3 biggest counties for like people of color here. Mm-hmm. So, I wanted to hit them where it would hurt the most.
No, I'm honestly taken aback. That's incredible.
Thank you.
That's incredible.
Well, let's try to get to know you a little bit more, if that's okay.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
on a personal level. Yeah. So what is your degree right now again?
I'm working on a sociology degree.
Okay, so what made you want to do that?
I took one sociology class with a really good professor, and he was amazing, and I got to write a lot about things I really cared about, like the school-to-prison pipeline and mass incarceration, and I was just kind of like, I don't think biology's for me anymore, so I switched over.
So that was your major in the beginning?
Yeah, I switched over, last year.
Holy crap.
Yeah. I know how that feels, because I took a sociology class as well, and oh my gosh.
And
it's life-changing.
Yeah. And also, it's like, I'm more of I like people, and I like discussing world issues as well. Mm-hmm. And so being in that class, it was kind of like feeding me for the first time in a long time. I was like, oh my gosh, wait a minute.
No, it really does that to you. Sociology is just something so important that not a lot of people know about for some reason. I'll say I'm a sociology major, and people go, oh, what does that entail? What does that mean?
Yeah. Also, I know, sociology has multiple, areas of topic.
Oh, yeah.
And human relations is one of them, isn't it? Yes. Because I was also thinking a relationship episode, that would be good.
Oh, right. Because, this class that I took was in deviance. That was, the main focus. Yeah. So we talked a lot about, the whole prison system, and then, specifically so rapists and things like that, and racial issues, and it was just interesting to be able to be in the same room and discuss with a different crowd of people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I think I feel like it should be a requirement in high school to take a class like that.
For sure.
Honestly, the way I
and
felt,
even just
like,
look at world issues from different perspectives. Being able to look at different perspectives, I think that's important.
Because there was points where we sat around and discussed, especially when it came to racial stuff, and people's perspective on these certain specific issues that we're discussing. We're like, oh, I never saw it that way. Like, oh, that's how you feel on a daily basis?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like, it was just like
eye-opening.
Interesting to sit there. I'm like, we're a diverse state, I would like to think.
Yeah.
I know. Yes.
Yeah.
A lot of people say Washington.
You're right, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people say Washington's diverse. I'm like, yeah, not really much. But, like, you would think people would go out the way to understand
the different groups,
cultures that are here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you'd be surprised at how, like, right-wing Washington is versus how left-wing people claim it to be.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Like, it's so weird. The dynamic here is just crazy to me.
Yeah, you would think it would be more, like, a lot more liberal because of the lifestyle people live.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
just free-spirited and just kind of like hippie lifestyle. Yeah. But then
I'm hippie as fuck.
If you really like do the research and look at the statistics, it's like, wait a minute, it does not match up to what's being portrayed. Like, what the fudge.
And that has a lot to do with like education.
Ooh.
Yeah, because we don't learn about we don't take sociology classes in high school usually, and we don't have extensive history classes on things like the civil rights movement, and we only take one Washington State history class, and we hardly touch on Native American history
Oh
at
my
all.
gosh, that is so true. And I took Washington history twice because I flunked the first time. But we didn't learn anything about any reservations, and oh my gosh, it's so sad.
I took a humanities class too, and my humanities teacher was amazing. But we also touched on a lot of like world issue stuff and like current problems. I never was aware until I took that class that like Indigenous women were actually being just killed and there was no investigation on that.
They're being killed, they're being sterilized. Yeah.
I did not know that until I'm like in my early 20s. I'm sitting here like, I had to take a college class to know this.
Right.
And then it's like we're surrounded by those people.
Yes.
We're surrounded by tribes
They're literally
of those
next
people.
door.
Yeah.
And we wouldn't know.
Yeah, no.
There's so many people who don't know that.
Exactly.
And it's so sad.
I was like, wait a minute.
That's why the reallocating of police funds to schools matters.
I have to pay $500 to $600 for a class to learn about something that's happening next door.
Exactly.
Make it make sense.
Make it make sense.
Can we talk about abolition? What is prison abolition?
Prison abolition is basically taking the prison system as well as the law enforcement system and wiping it clean. Okay. And a lot of people think we're just wiping it clean and just
not replacing it.
Yes, and just letting the world go to war.
Yeah.
And that's also not the point at all either. It's like figuring out therapy for the people that would usually just go directly to prison. There's a lot of people that will be second offenders of the same crime because there's work there that needs to be done mentally.
Yeah.
So it's kind of more doing, like putting them in facilities where they're going to get therapy and help.
Better.
Yeah. And that includes all criminals, anyone doing anything. There's a type of therapy that is needed. There is a type of refuge that they can find, and we can put them back out into the world and they can be like good members of society.
Yes.
No one believes that though.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the hard part. No one believes that that's possible.
Why not?
Because people think that criminals are just criminals, and that's the life they live, and that's it.
Right, because there are those people who just believe, if you do something bad, you should rot in jail, forget your rights, forget whatever.
I understand that, but I guess it's just like, I'm the type of person that always tries to figure out why certain things happen or why people do certain things. I I guess that's not everybody, because there's a reason for almost anything and everything. Yeah. And so, to me, when I see prisoners, yes, there's consequences to everything, positive or negative. But when it comes to the actions that they've done, there's a reason to it, mentally or emotionally, why they've done what they've done. You know what I mean? And so, I guess no one else, like, a lot of people don't think that way.
And that's also why I like that aspect of putting them to get that mental work that they need, because they sometimes they do need to be embraced. Why do a lot of these people do what they do? Because the root of the issue that started at home is that they weren't cared for. They need love. And then it's like, it does sound sad, or I don't know what I'm trying to say. It does sound pretty weird, like the idea, this person did something bad, let's get them help, instead of let's torture them, because a lot of people do have the torture aspect,
which is disgusting, kind of.
I agree.
But like, think about disciplining a child. Like, when you discipline a child, do you correct their actions, or do you just like tell them, like, go in your room and don't do anything?
You're supposed to tell them anything.
You're supposed to like tell them what they did wrong, why it's wrong, and then help them not do it again.
Exactly.
And that's kind of, it's the same thing. Like, these people are still people.
Exactly.
But I guess where people don't see that connection is because a lot of these are grown folks.
Yeah.
You know?
Which is sad.
So it's like, you should know better. I guess the expectation for them is very high.
Yeah.
You should know what you're doing and what you've said and all that. And since you know that, then here's your consequence. You know what I mean?
But also, when I think of prison, I do think that it's broken, because just like when I think of people coming out of the military, they don't have that support that they need a lot of times to get back into society safely and have those, like, when they react, they could have misreactions because of the pressures that have been put on them from the military. And I think of that a lot of times with prisoners too. So much pressure has been put on these prisoners inside of the system that when they come out, a lot of times they didn't even get what they needed to correct themselves in prison. They're just coming out and doing what they need to just stay under the radar or to just get back into society, but they're not fully integrated into society properly.
I feel like you would know this, but I always feel like prison system isn't made for people to go back into society, and
it's
you know what I
mean?
mean?
Keep you in the
it's
loop.
fully not. It's really not made. It's kind of, it's a cash cow.
Exactly.
It's fully a cash cow for the government, and that's why there's so many second offenders, because they don't help them at all. They put them in a room, they make them do prison labor, and they treat them horribly.
I remember reading something or listening to a podcast a while ago about, like, the profit that these prisons get. I don't remember the numbers off of my head, but I know I was shocked when I heard that.
Yeah.
To me, like, it was baffling because a lot of the time these people that go into these systems also have done, like, the smallest thing, you know what I mean? But the only reason they are where they are in the system is because of small behaviors in the system, and that behavior is due to them not wanting to be there and not the help, like, not having the help. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And, like, even people who commit petty crimes, like small robberies and all of that, like, that's a problem that the government can solve. Why do you think these people are robbing others? They don't have the things that they need.
Exactly.
Like, everything, like, murderers, everything. There's mental help that needs to be done there. There's mental, like, there's stuff going on there.
I also think as a society, we don't take mental health seriously.
We don't.
Which is why a lot of people are like, that's bullshit. Fuck. Like, I'd rather put people in a box than to put somebody in front of a doctor and have the doctor analyze them. And I think that's really sad.
Yeah, because it's, again, the safety of others. You have a mental problem, meaning you're crazy to society, and they put you aside somewhere in a box or in a room or whatnot to keep the rest safe. Do you get what I'm saying? Yeah. And I'm just like, that doesn't make sense, because they're supposed to be back in society and be able to associate with others and do all. You're not solving the problem, you're just covering it up.
Yeah, and then what happens when they get out of that box?
They don't know what the fuck to do other than what they did.
They're usually worse.
Yep.
When they get out of that box, they can't vote. When they get out of that box, no matter what they learn, if they learn anything in that box, they can't apply it because people won't hire people that have been jailed.
And then it's like when companies do hire people that are jailed, then there's that bill so that the company gets money whenever they hire inmates. And so a lot of times those inmates will just have shitty jobs, but the company just wants that check for having an inmate.
Yeah.
And yeah, prison labor generates $1 billion and is very profitable.
$1 billion.
Yep. So lots of companies use it. And I have a list of those companies that we're going to talk about.
Yeah. I know there's a handful.
Yeah, there's...
And then more about abolition. Is there anything else in Washington specifically? But are there any steps that could that are being taken in Washington specifically to abolish prisons?
Well, it all starts with the police. So the defunding of the Seattle police departments and eventually all of the police departments is a really good way to start. We got to start draining them slowly.
Exactly.
That's the whole deal. And
my question for you is, so the allocation of funds, we understand that. What's going to happen to the police department, or how are citizens also going to be protected, which is what I think.
That's what I was going to go next. And so what's the plan in general once the funding is, drained?
Right, because I'm all for abolishing police.
Yeah.
I'm here for it.
Yeah, that's the long haul of it, basically, though, is like 50% for them is not a lot.
Exactly.
And lately, I think it's really funny that they've been spending a lot of time with quote-unquote riots. And I hear, I have people on scanners for when I'm at those protests. They hold calls. They hold police calls.
What? So
You're kidding.
I'm not. They'll hold police calls, all 911 calls are on hold.
Because of a so-called riot.
Because of riot that they start, yeah.
Boo!
They start those riots. I've been there for everyone. They've started every single one of those riots.
Yo.
And they will hold calls and they get overtime.
How does that make sense? Mainly because you're there to protect regardless of the situation. And now you're restricting the protection of people. What if someone needs you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just a loop of...
How's that rational?
It's not.
It's not. It's really not.
And that's another thing that makes me say defund the fucking police, because if you're over here with peaceful protesters and then causing riots and then also stopping calls, what are you doing?
I know.
What are you doing? And
you're
then
defeating the purpose of your position.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah. They don't do the work that they claim they do.
Right.
They really don't. I don't know if you've called the police in Seattle, if you've had to. I've had to once when a car got broken into and they stole all my stuff.
Oh,
but
geez.
I got nothing. They didn't help me at all. That's
irritating.
Yeah.
That is irritating. No, I'm hurt for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, the police. We really do need better forms of policing, and not even policing, but societal, I don't want to say control, because I don't really know what I'm saying, but for lack of better words, we need societal control in a sense of having people we could rely on. We need separate people from the police department to call for wellness checks. We need separate people from the police department to call when we get broken into.
Yeah.
And it's we don't need this one sector of policing. We need different organizations and different things that actually care about people that could put resources in.
I know there's organizations for mental health assistance and all that other, specifically for teens, for adults, all of that, which is great. But again, it goes back to the funding. How much funding do they have to
not as much as I think the Seattle Police Department has. Something around $1 billion or something, a lot of fucking budget. And you know what? You know what's really funny?
Why?
I found out yesterday that they're really pissed off that we're trying to defund and we're almost there.
Woo.
Because of the fact that they have spent so much money on tear gas.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yeah,
tear gas alone?
Supply, yeah.
On tear gas alone, they've spent so much money that is going to hurt them so much if they get defunded by 50%.
And I have a question. How often is tear gas being used at these protests?
Way too often.
That's so scary.
Tear
I feel like that's their first solution.
You've been personally tear gassed. Can you please explain?
Oh my gosh, it is terrible. I've been at all of them, like the first day when they just started raining it down from like the roofs and everything.
I saw videos of that.
I was there, and I've been there every time they've tear gas after that.
That's why I couldn't watch Seattle protest videos, because it's so close to home, first off, and then to know that I know people there. Yeah. Like, I was terrified when I saw, like, there was that day when there was the curfew, and then I saw you tweeting, and then I just messaged you, hey, Nan, are you okay, or something like that, and then I didn't see anything from you, and I was just praying. I was like, is she okay? Then I saw you tweet something like you made it home safe, and I was like, thank God, because it was terrifying. Yeah. It was terrifying just looking at the social media reactions. Mm-hmm. So being there, I can't imagine.
Do you feel like that was like their first result to like solve the issue or whatnot they were trying to do? I don't know what they were trying to do.
Their only thing that they have against people, like that many people, is flashbangs. And tear gas, yeah.
And then the shields. Did they do the shield thing where they ran up to you guys in the line where they had the shields?
They always have the shields, yeah.
Fuck that. Fuck that.
They'll, like, say, like, you guys need to disperse, and then they'll trap us.
So that you guys can't.
Yeah, they'll mace us, but the mace is colored, so even after you wipe it off, if they UV light you, they can see that you've been there. Yeah. They've been doing that to people's cars. They've been pulling over people that they've seen from protests, like familiar cars.
Yo.
Yeah.
So what's the point of having, like, the... Why?
So that they could track people and pull them over?
Track people and arrest them.
They're arresting people for being at protests.
Last Saturday, 16 people got arrested.
And that's just for being at the protest.
Just for being at the protest.
No, like, nothing actual evidence to, like...
Other than protecting other people, like... from the brutality.
Well, like no evidence of destruction. Like, just you are connected to a protest, meaning what? That you've caused damage? Is that
they've made very like petty reasons, like small reasons for arresting people that are like completely just bogus.
But where do you get the evidence? That's my question.
They don't need it. They don't need it.
But you need probable cause in order, like, so is the protest in general the probable cause? Like,
yes.
It being declared a riot, once it's declared a riot,
when you're there,
they can arrest anyone, basically.
2 + 2 does not equal 96, my friends.
2 + 2 equals 80
goddamn to the police.
How does that make any sense?
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But like it pisses me off mainly because the real people that are actually causing like destruction are not, like, there's no attention to them. Yeah. That's what it feels like to me.
And even then there shouldn't be, because riots,
it's part of this country's history.
It's a part. Yeah, nothing gets done unless there's a riot. Period. Like, that's why shit's getting done now, is because we're rioting, we're ruining shit, because none of this is ours.
So you gotta give it to people in the bed.
For the people in the bed. Exactly. Holy shit.
Like I understand in the sense, like, when the riots and stuff happened, the destruction of property and stuff, I was like, okay, this is a little too much, because I don't believe that violence can always solve issues. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so to me, it was, we don't need to go this far. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I understand the anger, the disappointment, everything. And so I'm not saying what a lot of people did was right, because you can't, an eye for an eye ain't gonna do shit sometimes.
Don't make us all blind.
Literally, yes. But also, people's emotions and reactions were reasonable, I think.
Yeah. Well, it's more of, we're not hurting anyone. Mm-mm. We're hurting property. It's property. At the end of the day, those windows get replaced.
But also, I was thinking about those Black business owners, too. That some of their business got,
usually,
destroyed.
Honestly, those people aren't with us. Those are people that are there for a riot, and they will just break anything in their paths.
Exactly. Because I'm, like, as I was looking at the riot stuff, then I was like, yes, I completely agree. But then I'm like, a lot of this peaceful protesting has turned into rioting because of outside people. Yeah. So it's like, I'm not even...
But you got to remember, there's Black people that also were the whole eye for an eye thing.
Absolutely.
And then there was white people that were just there to destroy
and to take
about the Black businesses.
So, so there was both sides played a part. But I guess it just, that's why I don't believe in violence, but then also, too, that causes so much confusion because everyone's a part of it, and it's just like, you don't know who's really here to support and who's really here to, like, violence isn't,
and that's
confusing.
That's been the hard part, is people have been trying to, like, put together direct action marches, which I don't think you should be doing unless you are a Black person in this instance. Mm-hmm. So I've caught some white people trying to do direct action marches.
Seriously?
That's the harmful part. That's the harmful thing, is that they take matters into their own hands a little too much. They think their allyship is, like, so powerful that they can do that. And
that's
it just
makes
the movement look bad.
Yeah.
Yes.
When people are vandalizing Amazon and Starbucks, I have no problem with that.
I stopped supporting Starbucks.
Those are billion-dollar companies, billion to trillion-dollar companies. Those
that don't pay their employees properly, that are completely insured, and who would fire all of their employees in an instant to send their CEOs to the private islands to get away from everything.
Yeah.
And I know people who have been fired from Starbucks for being at these protests.
And then Black Lives Matter, the attire.
Can
you talk about that?
I just find it interesting because after people started making noise about them being fired,
then
they did that. Mm-hmm. No, those people didn't get rehired.
Oh, so people who got fired for wearing the Black Lives Matter merch.
For being at the protests, even if it was a peaceful one,
just a protest in general.
Yeah, just for being at a protest.
I know someone that got fired.
Yeah, personally, I know someone that got fired.
Can you just say the city of the Starbucks?
Seattle, right here in Seattle. Like a block away, actually.
Oh, you're kidding.
That's sick. That's disgusting.
So they took that into, like, more then going to attire.
Yeah. They got called out for their shit. Because then some
people are not going to say, like, oh, yeah, I was at the protest.
Right. But how did the manager know? Was it just talking?
I'm assuming talking or social media or something. Like...
No, that's so sad. In the middle of a fucking pandemic, to let somebody lose their job like that.
Yeah.
And now they target... That's what I'm like...
Now they have Black Lives Matter shirts.
You are... Exactly. Now I'm just like, you were really trying to, like...
derail our movement, and now that you know that you're losing money from this, now you want to hop aboard. Because Black culture is so profitable.
Yeah. This is why, like, when the whole, like... What was it on social media? Like, business... Or just in general. When I would go on, like, a Fashion Nova or some shit. Random. Mm-hmm. And the first thing is, like, this prompt that's like, oh, we support our Black Lives Matter and all this other stuff. I always roll my eyes because I'm like, you acting like this is new.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't...
Your
models are no one darker than a paper bag.
Ooh!
So let's talk about that. I'm not a fan of Fashion Nova. Yeah. I'm not a fan of a lot of these businesses.
A lot of those big, exactly. Yeah. And I'm just like, this is just for you to, like, butter us up, pretty much.
Profiting off, like you said, profiting off the blackness.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I'm ashamed, and I've never bought into it. It made me pissed, because it's like, this is shady business.
It is shady business. Like,
I can't even.
It's just, it's a lot. It is a lot.
How do you feel about, like, because you've protested in Seattle specifically?
Yeah.
How do you feel about, like, our city, like, the actions that we've taken as a community, and also, like, in the politics section, like, you know what I mean, or like all that? How do you, because I don't know if you know much what's going on government wise with the mayor and everything. I bet you do.
I do.
Yeah.
She's the one who's letting them hear us.
Exactly.
She's the reason I have to have a respirator mask when I go out and a helmet, because they use rubber bullets too.
Oh my god!
And I don't want that problem. I saw someone get hit with a rubber bullet, and it was
I've seen the bruises that people.
They're
and
big.
I saw somebody get shot in the eye on Twitter.
People always think that they're like, oh, like this big,
like a rubber
like an
band.
inch long. Yeah, they are huge, and it's like a coat of rubber over like a normal, like huge ass bullet.
Yo, I can't imagine.
Like, I saw that happen to someone.
First off, thank you for putting yourself and your physical body out there.
Thank you.
That's incredible.
But yeah, how do you feel like the action that our community is taking and the government's taking in Seattle specifically?
We're not doing the best, like when it comes to some of the actions we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
But there are a ton of good organizers that have been setting up marches. Like, I don't want to shout anyone out because I don't want like a lot of attention going to them.
Right.
There's some really good people doing really good things, and then there's people like I had mentioned earlier, the white people that were trying to do the direct action march.
Yeah.
And there's just a lot of weird, like, we were talking about the politics in Seattle a little earlier, like liberal people, like quote unquote liberal people that like just don't listen to black people at all or don't listen to people of color at all, and they think they know best. That's kind of what we're seeing here. It's the overstepping of mainly white people, and it's the like them kind of making the movement look bad by taking shit too far when it comes to vandalizing and all of that. So I think we're doing pretty well when it comes to the government side because there are people making really good moves to get shit done. Me, for instance.
Yes, Queen, shameless promo.
Honestly, but yeah. But the government is a mess right now.
Yeah.
That's why we need those things like you're putting out. We need bills in place to secure what we need. We have demands. And I think it's up to us as people in a society to create those bills and enforce those demands on our government.
Yeah. And with enough pressure, our mayor is going to resign. And we're working on that, too. People are working on that.
You can see that coming.
I'll call the bitch up.
No, seriously, call her. Like, call her office. Tell her to resign. Because I've been doing that.
Fuck yeah.
She needs to resign. Like,
and
don't get me started on
question,
her.
if she resigns, is there anyone in line who you would like to see?
No, I don't really know our officials that well, to be honest. Like, I didn't until this happened, so I've kind of been looking.
So you're just looking into it right now? I see.
Yeah.
Because I want to look into it too and see which of those people meets the demands that I want to see in terms of society and culture and schools and allocating of funds. And I'm interested in looking into that.
Yeah, definitely. Like, take action, take initiative. Like, seriously, it's not hard to send an email or make a call to your all of that, to mayors, council members,
and
et cetera, et cetera.
For people who want to get into activism, do you have any tips for any of our listeners out there who might want to get started?
Yeah, get your foot in the door.
And how?
Stick it in.
How do you stick it?
Even if it's a toe.
If you're just propping open that door.
Right, just big toe. No, I'm serious though. Like, the reason, like, how I got into this, like, all the way I am now is by finding people that do it already.
Right.
Networking, honestly, I hate that term. It's such a capitalist term.
That is true. That's why I use the term ecosystem. I want people in my ecosystem so that we could support and provide for each other.
Ask a Lily to be your ecosystem.
Right.
But
just fight for what you believe in and fight hard, and like I said, get your foot in the door. Like, activism doesn't have to be at like a government level.
Yes.
I don't know how I got my foot in the door here, but it happened.
Would you say you just talked to a bunch of people?
I talked to my mentor.
And I was going to say you have a mentor. That's incredible.
Oh, yeah.
Mentors are the best.
They really are.
Find you a mentor.
Girl, find you a mentor.
Right.
Also, I had another question. This kind of like bounces weirdly. But like, because of the protests, now that there's no real being in the protest is a probable cause of just being jailed. How do you think that will affect the jail system that's already fucked up now? You know what I mean?
They've only fully jailed one person. They're just charging people.
They're
charging people and holding people and treating them terribly. There's a thread on, like, Seattle specifically of people that have been charged and put in jail, and they've done horrible things to these people.
You're kidding.
And bail funds. Any specific bail funds that you can lead us to?
Ooh,
And these links will also be in our description, so if you can't think later, hit me up later.
I can't think of them specifically right now, but I will send you like all the links that I have.
Boom.
Yeah, links and phone numbers.
For people specifically in Seattle, those will be in our description for our listeners.
And you know what's funny is that one of them is like 206 OK Try Me. Like it spells out OK Try Me, and they didn't even know until we were like, it's OK Try Me.
That's my number. That's the one I'm gonna call.
Yeah. No, that's the one that I always have on my arm when I go out. Like if I get arrested, I have to write a number on my arm if I go out. Like, that's how real it's getting right now. It's like people I can't talk too much about it because it's like there's stuff going on with me personally that I can't talk about.
Exactly, and we want to keep you safe.
Yeah, please keep me safe. Jesus, keep me safe.
You're our unofficial fourth host, girl. You are safe. But another thing, I really just wanted to ask you, preparing to go out into protests, what do you do specifically to prepare yourself, not only mentally but physically? You said you write your number on your arm?
Yeah, I write a bail fund number. I write my mom's number in case something bad happens to me, like on me, my body. Yeah. Because I know my mom's number, but like if someone finds me, like they can call my mom. It's
my
really
eyes are
sad.
tearing up. Yeah, I can't think of that. That's sad.
Yeah, I pack my bag. My bag's like 3 fucking pounds. It's really heavy. There's food, there's medical supplies, there's my respirator mask, there's a helmet that's clipped to the back, water, etc., etc. Like there's a lot that goes into like getting ready to protest. It usually takes me like an hour to get ready, and I don't wear makeup. Like you can't wear makeup because the tear gas it'll get into your eyes and fuck your shit up really bad. Excuse my language.
But we don't care.
The first time I got tear gas, I was wearing makeup, and I was like, oh no.
No, that Anastasia Beverly Hills just run it.
No, it doesn't run. It goes right to your eyes.
Sticks onto it.
Hair gel even.
Yeah.
Like I can't put hell gel.
I
can't put hair gel in. No, the afro's out when I'm protesting, because if that, like, it will trickle down. Even like sunscreen, any face product, like I can't wear any of that. You have to. Oh my gosh, it's gotten hotter. And you have to be in black bloc. A lot of us have to be in black bloc because I have tattoos.
Yes.
You can't wear anything recognizable. So I'm in like a huge hoodie with a t-shirt under just in case I get heat stroke and someone needs to take my shirt off.
Yeah.
And then I'm wearing like black pants, socks, like all the way up to my knee at least, and then like my Doc Martens. Like I have to wear black bloc. It's preparing is a lot.
I can't imagine. I genuinely can't imagine, because I'd be like, I do want to go up to these protests, but
you don't. You really don't.
I just want to support, but then it's like I can't be supportive at home because, like, I saw this thing on Twitter, like, in order for movements to progress, you need everybody. You need the people on the field. You need the people at home warning the people on the field. You need the people bringing resources. And it's like, if anything, I'm just somebody giving resources and trying to find police scanners and just tweeting.
Yeah, if I didn't have Micah, I would be out there, honestly. Like,
we were out there with Micah. We did the Women's March, which is probably like the lowest thing, but we were supporting Black lives. We were representing Indigenous people and trans women.
We accidentally ran into another protest.
Right, we ran into another protest. They said, come on. We said, yeah.
So, like, I would be out there, but the fact that I have a kid, to me, like, I have to be more...
You have to be careful.
Yeah, I have to be physically careful, because I want to come back home to him. You know what I mean? And so,
to your Black son that you're trying to...
That is so much more important than being out there, because there's plenty of us out there.
Yeah.
But there needs to be people like you, who are taking care of these Black children that need to become Black adults. And, like, just be where you need to be.